What's up, friends? Welcome to Conversations from the Grove. My name is Aaron Long, and I'm the social media coordinator at the Grove Theater. And the reason I'm still sitting in the host chair is that this is part two of our interview with artistic director Sean Cox. Now, Sean, you are going to be stepping onto the stage this year, and you've done so in the past. What's it like when you step out onto the stage at the Grove Theater, when the sun's gone down, the lights are up, the trees are all lit up, and the audience is just ready to go? What is that feeling
That's
like?
that's that's a great question. It's so unique. I mean, the Grove is it's truly magical. Theater in general is magical. I mean, my mentor always told me, he's like, film and television, the camera, that's the truth. You can't lie to the camera, right? That's what it records. But the theater and live performance, that's the magic, right? You've got the artists on stage and you've got the audience, and it's this energy, it's this magical, sort of undescribable energy between them that is it's incredible. It's magical for lack of other words. And I think, with most theaters, in a downtown setting, it's whether it's a black box or a large theater, you know you go in and the lights go out and you could be anywhere. It's a dark space. But the Grove is is different. It's truly, it is the environment. It is the natural surrounding of it. It's totally unique. It has the best reveal of any theater I've been to, because you can't see it from the outside. You park, all you see is sort of the trees. You might see like a little bit of movement and what have you, but once sort of, we get into spring and all the trees and flowers blossom, you can't see it. And so you enter, up this path, and you kind of make this little, journey through the woods, and it's quite lovely, fairy doors and everything along the way. And then you get to the top, and then you're just there. It's like you've been magically transported to this beautiful space, and there's the theater on your right, and there's the booth right in front of you, and sort of this our lobby area on the left. And so it's it's like you've walked through, like this kind of this portal, and you've been transported. It's pretty incredible. But being outside is incredible because the actors, the singers, the musicians, and the audience, they're all in the same space, meaning that when the show starts, it's all in natural lighting, right? The show starts and the actors can see the audience and the audience can see the actors, and they're all there together. And there's something special about that. And I think that works really well for music and musicals and Shakespeare, is this sort of acknowledgement of being in this space together. And as the show continues, it shifts slowly. So you get a sunset, which gives you this incredible natural lighting, in the trees, and depending on what the clouds are for that day. And then as you get towards closer to intermission, is when the theatrical lights really take over. And we get to show off the venue in a totally different way. We get to light the trees with bright colors, and it's an incredible space and venue to watch a show in. It's beautiful. It's really it's exceeded our expectations. Like, this idea of building this venue was about, bringing theater to the community, and sort of being an economic driver, and what that could do. But I think the magical quality of the space has really sort of blown us all away. It's really exceeded our expectations. And it's different every night, depending on the weather, depending on the lighting. And and and, and when you're and to be on the stage as a performer, as an actor, as a musician, um well, one, every show is different, every performance is different, but there is something crisp. There's a sparkle in the air that's very unique to this venue, that it's unlike any other. You mentioned the community and being an economic driver and really just being part of the community. And the longer the Grove has been around, the more it's been involved in the community. But what are some of the options and ways that people can help out the theater, and how people can get involved as well? Oh, wow. Well, I think number one is is come to the venue and see shows. Is I mean the number one way is to become a subscriber, come and see the shows, bring friends and family, and that's I mean because we are new. This is I mean we're moving into our fourth season. We're a baby. It's like we are just starting. Like all these other theater companies, kind of in Ontario that folks go to that I keep hearing the names that they're sort of comparing us to. I'm like, they've been around for 40 years, and it's taken them a long time to build up a reputation and sort of to do a certain level of work with a certain level of talent. And we're in year 4, and we've got top notch performers, and we're doing incredible material. So we're ahead of we're ahead of schedule in that way. So that's exciting. But there are still so many people in the area that have not been to the venue. So I mean, at this point, it's really about spreading the word and letting people know. Bringing when you've got family and friends in from out of town. I mean, people are already making this a new annual tradition. Is to come and see something at the Grove, and because and this has been the plan from the beginning, but the goal is to have is not just a theater, but it's a festival, right? And so you can, if you're up in town for a week, you can come to the Grove and see 4 to 5 different shows. I mean, this season you can see Buddy Holly, you can see one of the tributes, and then you can see one of the guest artists that we have. And the guest artists are exciting because early on, we thought, well, it'd be great to get recognizable big names. And as we're like, well, as a young company, are we going to be able to get people in here? And from the first season, you got these folks, and they really loved the venue. They found it magical and unique and intimate. I think that's the other thing. Like you're used to going to see some of these names, Ron James or Stephen Page or Jim Cuddy, and they're big venues, but the Grove is very intimate. There's not a bad seat in the house. So it's very unique. But as far as I think the community, there's spreading the word. There's coming to see the shows. We've got opportunities to volunteer. We are always looking for folks to help out, whether it's ushering during the performances, or we have people that are helping on the set or backstage. The theater is a collaborative art. It takes a community to put on a show like this. And so whether folks are interested in just handing out flyers or putting up posters or coming and painting the set, or ushering, there's all sorts of ways. And if you go to the website, there's a special place that you can sign up to volunteer for the Grove.
Awesome. Now you've done this to several of your guests so far, so now it's your turn to answer some rapid fire questions.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Since you wrote the questions, you might have a little bit of an easier time
Right.
shooting them out there than some of the other guests did. But let's kick this off with favorite band.
The Who. I love the Beatles. Don't get me wrong. I'm a gigantic Beatles fan, but like Alex, our music director, he was like saying it's like when somebody asks what your favorite drink is, it's like saying water. It's it's just yes, I'm a diehard Beatles fan, but if we're gonna put the Beatles aside, I am a diehard longtime fan of the Who. I mean, all those other bands, Zeppelin and the Stones, they're great, but man, give me the Who any day.
What about solo artist? Favorite solo artist?
Glenn Hansard is my ultimate favorite, and and that comes from seeing him live. I've seen him more than any other singer songwriter. I think I've seen him like 9 or 10 times over the years, whether with his band The Frames or with the Swell Season or by himself. And he's an incredible writer, but he's absolutely unbelievable on stage. He's electrifying, and so I would say he's my favorite solo artist. I never got to see Ray Charles live, but I'm a big Ray Charles fan too. I'll sit and listen to him all day if I can.
Favorite movie?
Singing in the Rain, or A Fish Called Wanda. Two very different,
The wide spectrum right there.
two very different movies, but for me, perfect. They're both perfect movies. Yeah, if you haven't seen either one, please.
Favorite actor?
Favorite actor? That's, I mean, it's hard to narrow down, having worked in the theater and worked as an actor and working with actors. Um, on stage, Mark Rylance, hands down, best performance, best actor I've ever seen. He's like not of this earth. He's incredible. Film, Robin Williams. I've always loved Robin Williams. Meryl Streep is also there. I feel like she's like the Beatles with like, your favorite drink is water. It's hard not to just, to just to be such a diehard fan of hers, because everything she does she's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. So I don't know. Yeah, those are three of the top ones right there.
There you go. And she's definitely one of those ones that, like you said, like everybody could just say that name. So you kind of have to dig a little deeper and be like,
Yeah.
okay, well, obviously you're the best. We have to go with somebody else.
Yeah. And she's, I mean, because she's, her stage work as well, right? I think I have, I've got those actors that I love on stage, Mark Rylance and, it's a lot of English actors, and then film actors are very different, but she's one of those ones that, like Cate Blanchett, she like does both and is incredible. She's just, incredible to watch. Really, really amazing talent. I don't know how they do it.
How about favorite book?
Favorite book. I would either A Prayer for Owen Meany, a beautiful book that really affected me when I read it. Yeah, I'd probably go with A Prayer for Owen Meany. Jitterbug Perfume, Tom Robbins is also an early favorite, but yeah, I'd say one of those two.
Both great options. And what about the favorite writer?
Shakespeare. It's just I've been such a diehard Shakespeare geek since I was a kid. I got into Romeo and Juliet when I was, I think, I don't know, grade 6, and it wasn't intimidating. It wasn't scary. There was something familiar and exciting about it. And so I mean, I've devoted a lot of my life and a lot of my energy and resources to Shakespeare. And so, yeah, can't top. If we're looking for like an everyday, a modern writer, Tom Robbins is pretty fantastic.
Again, amazing options. What about your favorite place to visit or travel to?
Any place with my kids. I would say, because being with them changes, sort of how you look at things. I mean, when I was younger, especially, as an actor and jumping from place to place, I spent so much time by myself and went so many places alone, that I think now that I'm older and I'm a parent, anywhere with my kids is great. Whether like a museum is totally different experience with the kids. Going to the grocery store is a is a totally different experience with my kids. I remember going to Disneyland when our daughter was young, and having gone so many times, and like it was like, oh, it's it so well, and it's a kind of a part of your growing up. But then to go with a kid, you're like, it's for them. Oh, I get it. It's really for them. It's this magical experience, and just watching them, walk around and see everything for the first time, is pretty cool. So yeah, I'd say anywhere with my kids.
And what about your favorite mode of transportation?
Train. Put me on a train. I don't need to do any more flying. I've done plenty of that. So yeah, there's something about being on a train. I don't know. It's like those those old movies, right? Those old, 30s and 40s movies. But yeah, there's something about being able to sit and just enjoy the scenery without the pressure of being on the road. Although if you're going to be on the road, I'd say, a convertible, with loud music and a sunny day is a second.
Both are very hard to beat. What about your favorite after show ritual? And I just want to add something there. Is it different when you're directing versus when you're performing?
Wow. It's a great question. It is. Yeah. I think when I was younger because when I was younger and I started working professionally in the theater, I started as an actor. I think there was always there was that after show, chat going out, afterwards and talking about the show and sort of, the notes that come with working on a play or a musical or, anything that there's always that, it's live. So you get another chance. So, for me, it was always like, well, what do we do better? What worked? What didn't work? Right. Which I think, also, I think is sort of part of me and, who I am. I mean, when I went to school and all that, I focused on, on acting, but it was really on theater in general. And so I think I was always interested in being a theater maker. Like I just loved all aspects of the theater. I mean, the first professional job I had was acting in a musical, but then I worked wardrobe, I worked, crew, anything to just sort of be in that environment. And so I think early on, I really sort of saw myself as a theater maker as opposed to just an actor, which is why directing. I think it was inevitable that I started directing. But I think now my favorite after show ritual, and it has been, I think, for a number of years, is an empty theater at the end of the night. There's something about being the last person to turn the lights off, to lock the door, and everybody's gone. And there's a theaters are they're magical places, right? A lot of people believe that theaters are haunted, and I think there's a reason for that. All that energy, right? It's the energy from the artists, but also from the audience. There's so much energy; it leaves an imprint in the space. And so at the end of every performance, there's something about like just checking in with, wow, we did it. Like what was like the fact that just, half an hour ago, this place was filled with people and noise and music and emotions and applauding, and now it's empty. And yet it still has like this, like this vibration of that performance. And so I think a number of years, I really attempted to stop taking shows for granted. Like getting to do a dream role and realizing, a year or two down the line, I would do anything for one more shot to just do it one more time. And so, before every show, I really tried to take a moment and remember that, so that every single show, every performance, I didn't take for granted. You hear those stories of you do a long run of something and that they all blend together. I don't know. I've never really gone for that. I think each performance is so specific and unique. And there are, like, I've been so lucky to work on some pretty incredible projects over the years and work with some amazing people. Like I've worked with some heroes, and I would do anything to be able to go back and do that scene one more time with that actor who's no longer living, and or friends that you haven't seen in a long time. So yeah, so I think the end of the show, sort of that moment in the empty theater is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And that answer leads perfectly into what is your favorite past role or production or moment?
Oh God, that's right. Oh man, that's a hard one. Favorite pastoral or project. with the theater company that Christy and I ran in Southern California, we did a Shakespeare school tour, and I did it for 10 years. And I did it. It was a group of 5 performers, and we would tour hour-long versions of Shakespeare plays to schools all over Southern California. And I think this was very popular, a couple decades ago. But when we were doing it, it wasn't. So we would go all over the place. I mean, we would travel a couple hours a day, and there was nobody else doing this type of thing at the time. And and two of the actors, we did it the entire time, the entire 10 years together. And then like another actor was in it for most of it. Then there was another track that sort of, we took in a new person every once in a while. But that was a pretty incredible project, because the effect that it had on the audience, on the students, because the whole point of that was, as a Shakespeare geek, as a big Shakespeare fan, the idea was to make it exciting, right? I mean, Shakespeare is so easily has this feeling of it's boring, it's long, it's tedious, and if it feels that way, I don't think it's not being done correctly. It's the most incredible material you can work on. So this entire tour that we did, every single performance, we did it like we were committed, and it was full of energy and excitement, and the audiences, the kids, we did it for 10 years. And so we were in front of over 100,000 students, and, in little tiny theaters and gigantic, big, beautiful performing arts centers. And I didn't have a single negative performance. I never had an audience that checked out or was falling asleep. We worked really hard at having them engaged and excited and laughing and you do Romeo and Juliet that many times, and I never got tired of listening to the balcony saying, 9 times out of 10 when Mercutio got stabbed, they were shocked. It was so that was a pretty remarkable project to get to do, and to sort of have that be a lot of students' first impression of Shakespeare, because I think the first impression is the most important. If it's in English class and you're just reading it silently, which it was never meant to be read, it's a script. It's meant to be performed or read out loud, or at least listen, to listen to watch. The first, your first experience with it is the most important. So to be that to that many people felt very meaningful.
And I mean, being able to take something you love and share it with people for the first time, like that's got to be part of what makes that so magical for you to be able to share that. Sort of speaking of that, what future project would you call a dream? Like you have a lot more control now over what's next than you would have had as a younger actor.
Sure.
You kind of get to dictate what's next within reason. So, what's something that's on the list as a fantasy project still?
Um, well, I'd say The Grove. I'd say The Grove is the fantasy project, and where it's going, and the growth and the potential. You know, the theater company that we ran before, it was amazing, and we worked on incredible material, and we won a lot of awards, and I think we made a difference. But the impact of the Grove in this community, it's remarkable. It's exciting, and like I talk to people, it's like you compare it to the Stratford idea. And I think a lot of people would be like, oh, well, sure. Isn't that what everybody would like? Or, isn't that kind of how realistic is that? I think it's very realistic. And based on what we've been able to accomplish the last couple of years and where we are now, and like where we're already planning to go next year, I think it's exciting. You've got this beautiful venue. And we're building on that. So, the first year we did one show. And when we were planning the second season, I very quickly was about doing multiple shows in rep. And a lot of people thought, it's, that's too soon. It's not realistic. Well, we did. And now we went from doing, one show to two shows. And now this season we'll be doing 4 different shows, and so continuing that multiple shows, it's, with the goal of being multiple venues in town. I mean, that is not far away. It is very close. And the moment you're in multiple venues and you've got multiple shows and that's a festival. That's very much the same thing. And so then it's just building it up and awareness and people coming and sharing and experiencing all the shows that you're doing and making it an annual tradition. And I mean, it's exciting because it's an event, right? Like going to the theater, going to the Grove, it's an event. I mean, you can turn on your phone, you can turn on your TV, and you can stream incredible material. But it's that magic. It's the magic idea, right? Going to the Grove, it's an event. You go. It's an experience that you have with the artists on stage, with like your friends and family. There's nothing to bring people together than a live event like this, to have an emotional experience with other people and not by yourself sitting on your couch, but with your friends and neighbors. It's important, and it makes a difference. And I think nowadays, we could all use a little bit more of that, those sort of magical moments with other people and those shared experiences. And so the fantasy, I think, for the Grove is to build on that and to have lots of options, something for everybody. I mean, I'm a Shakespeare fan, but I love musical theater, and I love comedies, and I love a heart-wrenching drama, and I love, like the tribute concerts are great. I kind of like it all. And so I like the idea of having something for everybody. And so if somebody comes and sees a tribute show and thinks it's great and a lot of fun, they're more likely to come and see a musical, and then they're more than likely to see a play. And I think for us, as long as we keep the bar high and the caliber of what we do is great, and so that people know whatever they come and see, as long as they know that it's going to be stellar, it's going to be high quality, that's important. So that's like the goal and the fantasy is to sort of have high caliber and get people to come and see everything, and eventually come back every year and see all the different shows that we have to offer. That's the fantasy.
Well, I mean, when you can literally say that you're living your dream project, I mean, that's something that everybody can be jealous of. So I guess now I want to thank you for joining me on your show.
My pleasure.
All the Magic, of course, kicks off on Canada Day with a tribute to Canadian legends, and then Buddy Holly, tribute to the Beatles, the best of Broadway, and just an amazing list of guest artists. You can find out more at grovetheatre.ca. That's also where you can go for tickets. And I guess we'll see you at the Grove.
Absolutely. Cool. Thank you.